Hi, it's Arlie. I'm going to show you this gigantic, chock full, way too big mini album, travel album that I made of our trip to Japan at the end of March into April. My son graduated high school in 2020, and this was going to be his trip then, but he graduated right after everything shut down for COVID. So as soon as Japan opened back up and we were fully vaccinated and all that stuff, we went, and it went great. We didn't get sick. We had a great time. The only thing I didn't like was the flight. It's too long to sit still for me. And I'm not a good napper. So, but anyway, I'm going to show you this book. I had already made this book out of scrapbook paper. Let's see if I can find kind of an empty page. I just went through and used a bunch of paper, added so many other things to it. So I just added a lot of paper that I already had. And this has been sitting in my blank books section. And it's not as thick as the paper that's on the back of the pad. It's a little thicker than cardstock, and it's like kind of, I don't know, I can't really even remember where I got it. It's like packing material cardboard, and it's not chipboard, which is what, like, jigsaw puzzle thickness. And then I covered it with paper, and then I made each of these little bundles is called a signature, and so I made a whole bunch of signatures. And so this blank book was sitting there kind of waiting for something to go into it. And when I realized, I took photos and my son took photos, and then he also had a regular camera. So between the two of us, we had 2,000 photos. And I haven't been scrapbooking since COVID, and I haven't been doing Life 360 or Project 360. So I didn't really have a place to put the photos. So I decided to do this. It was really complicated trying to get everything kind of organized. I wanted to have it organized in a way that in years and years he could look back on it and remember in an organized way and not just all mashed together. So we were there for 10 days, 11 if you include the day we left. And so I made these are cocoa, a lot of these products are Cocoa Daisy. And then also I purchased some really cute cherry blossom stickers from Colibri, which is Mary Kay's thing on, I think she sells on Etsy, but you can find her on Facebook. I'll put it in the description. But you don't have to subscribe. You can just buy a la carte. And she usually has a preview, and she ships really quickly. So as soon as I saw the cherry blossoms, I was like, oh, gotta have that. So anyway, and also a lot of this is just stuff from my stash, so I don't think I would be able to identify it. Okay, so each of these tabs marks a day, one of the days, and it's the name of the place. And then what I did was I printed a little, a group of tiny pictures. I printed like a description of what we did during the day and memories I wanted to remember. And I printed out like basically a contact sheet, and they ended up being 10 pages. And so then I cut them out, and then I ran them through my little, I forgot what it's called, that thing that the sticker maker, Xyron sticker maker, and it didn't work very well, and I ended up with lots of little sticker stuff. And then I tried to fix it, and I kind of didn't fix it very well. And then I used this nail polish remover, the Mineral Fusion, I think, from Whole Foods, and or you can buy it online. And that worked pretty well, but there's some smudges here from the ink that was on my fingers when I went through. But I mean, it bugs me, but I'm not going to redo the book, so it's just going to have to live with it. But the alternative was to have it so that when you open the page, it goes, because there's little bits of sticker, and there still are some in the back. You know, there's a couple little spots that I could probably go through and find little bits. I did the journaling, and I put a number behind each. You know, I wrote it out. I did the name of the place. The name of the place is here. I did the little mini pictures. Then I went through and filled it with larger pictures and some captions. And then at the end, I did some category stuff. And instead of having the tabs here for the categories, I put them at the top. So the categories were the sakura, which is another word for the cherry blossoms. And then streets and alleys, which I really fell in love with when we were there. Just the narrow, busy streets with lots of light and color, and the power lines, and just the way, just standing in the middle of a street and looking down. Sorry, I'm recovering from a cold and I have a little bit of a cough. So there is one day, I don't think it's in this set. No, I have to, oh, I know which day. It was on the Kyoto day. There is one day. I thought I was standing in an alley taking a photo. This looked like an alley to me. So I was standing right here taking a picture, and all of a sudden I heard beeping and something bumped into my foot. And I turned around and an old guy was on a moped trying to run over my foot and being mad at me that I was standing in the middle of the street, I guess. I mean, it was funny and kind of infuriating because this is like the main tourist area of Kyoto, and everyone's usually really, really polite. Everywhere we went, everybody was really polite, and I really did not know I was standing in the middle of a road. This to me looked like an alley, and I didn't see any vehicles. Anyway, this is where I got run over. Just my foot got tapped by the tire of the moped or whatever it was, but still, this is where I got run over. So this is one of my street scenes. So I have streets, and then what's this one? Touristy areas. So this is like all these areas that were just packed full of people, like whatchamajigger. Why can't I think of the name of it? Shinjuku, no, Shibuya Crossing. And then Gachapon. And so my son, this is the airport, so he's carrying all the luggage. There are these vending machines everywhere, and he was really looking forward to it. And not only did they sell what you would normally see in little kid type vending machines, but just crazy weird stuff. And I did post about it on my Instagram. Let's see if can I get it to focus. Like this one is called like Your Uncle or Sitting Uncle or something. So these vending machines everywhere, and you put your money in and it comes out in a little plastic capsule, and you open the capsule and there's something crazy inside. So that I have a whole section for Gachapon. Anime stuff is my son's passion. I was thinking of putting something inside. Every once in a while when you have 2 horizontal and 2 vertical photos, it seems like you can lay them out kind of like a windmill, but then I don't know what to put on the inside. So, and then I saved a few tags. I think these will be fun to look at later. So that's anime. Selfies. One of my things when we travel is to find my reflection and take a photo of myself in a reflection. And people who travel with me tolerate me. So, because I always do it. I have so many photos of myself in mirrors. So this is, like when you're in an elevator, like look everywhere for reflections. It's a fun tradition. Signs and designs. This is the people crossing sign. It's very weird looking. Just different, either designs or signs that we saw that we took photos of. We went to the Gundam base, and then sorry, I've already forgotten the names of a lot of these places. And we went to the Ghibli Museum, which I don't recommend, actually. I think it'd be better to go to the park. This one was a little boring, and you weren't allowed to use your camera, and none of the signs, the little info sheets, were in English. So you just sort of walked through like, I don't know what I'm looking at. So that was annoying. I guess I could put something here, but... And then my son's thing that he was doing was every time he got a drink from a vending machine, he took a picture of it in his hand. So that was his deal. And then we had some fun with food. Like this one was this crazy pizza place we went to. Look at this Karn and the one on the left here. corn and hot dogs. Just pictures of food. I'm meant to be a really good artist and draw everything we ate, but we ended up with just no time for that kind of thing. So that's the end of the, like, you know, section, categories. And then in the end, I have just clipped in things that I didn't want to cut or tear up. Oh, there's glue on this one. So I loved these candies. Milky. Our, you know, plane ticket. Maps. So that's what's tucked into the back. So here now, let me flip through it now that you kind of get the overall. And yeah, I think I probably will just put like a string around it to hold it into a bundle. So this is funny. And I know I don't need to write more of this for my son. He will always remember. But when we, being American, I'm used to going to the right side, like on a sidewalk or a crosswalk when people are coming toward me, but they're the other side there. And so I would start down a sidewalk, and a lot of times you're looking, you've got your map on your phone and you're looking down, and he yelled left side, and I thought he said website, and I looked at him so confused, and he goes left side, and then we thought it was funny. So after that he yelled website instead of left side to remind me to get to. So that's our little inside joke. I have this money here, and then somewhere else I think I have the coins. I thought this one was pretty, and as soon as we exchanged it at our credit union, and so as soon as we got it from the credit union, I grabbed this one while it was kind of clean. I thought this would just be nice to keep. And so the value of this is about $20. So you move the decimal point in too, and that gives you an idea. So, I mean, we could, $20 is a lot for a keepsake, but maybe the value will go up, and my son can sell this when he's older and put his kids through college or something. So, and then I just stuck things I had a stack of things next to me, and I would put a movie on the TV, and I'd just go through and try to stick things in. First, I put them in the right day and category, and then after that, I just started putting them in any blank spot. So this was our flying day. These were tags that were on our chopsticks that we bought. This is some washi tape. The reflection. Oh, I guess this doesn't open. I got like a magazine or something at one of the, you know, outside one of the record stores, or sorry, DVD, CD stores. And I would just cut out pages. I don't know what it says, but I liked the way it looked. You know, talking little pictures. I kind of either I grouped them kind of by what they were, or in the chronological order, so the morning and then the evening. Here's the stickers from Colibri. Another thing is when I got, like, this is one of the paintings that was at the art museum. You know, I would get like flyers and little postcards and stuff whenever I could, and I used my circle punch and just took things. So you'll see circles through here. And some stickers. Circle. So I had stomach issues on the first day, and my son had stomach issues on the second day. And I really just think, this is going to sound goofy, but it was part of it was from travel, just traveling, just being on an airplane and sitting for so long. But I think part of it is because we eat a lot more cheese than we were eating there. And as soon as we deliberately added cheese into our diet, we felt a lot better. So here's coins. So we went out for pizza and some other cheese foods, but we also, the 7-Elevens there are amazing. They're more like a New York bodega than a 7-Eleven. And we got foods there. I got little like cheese and crackers and stuff. So just tickets to things. I don't know what I could put here. Day 4. So this was a weird thing. If you do go to Japan, so you're walking around by your hotel, and it just looks like a couple business people walking around, and you're like, where are people getting lunch and stuff? And then it turns out that there's a whole like underground system. And if you look in your Google Maps, you're like, it lists 10 restaurants. Where are the 10 restaurants? Well, it turns out you go into one of these office buildings that looks like it's closed, but it isn't. And there's elevators and stuff. And you go down, and there's just people everywhere. And there's 7-Elevens and ATM machines and gachapon, which are those little game things. And just restaurants and coffee shops, and nice coffee shops, and it's all really clean and nice, and it's sort of an underground system, I think, that connects a lot of the subway system. So we discovered that, and so, and this is a picture of that. We went into one that I thought was just like a bank building, and it was closed, and I'm like, this map says there's this right across from a hotel, and it looked like a blank building. This map says there's a salad place underneath that building. And so we just went in a side door that had like no signs. And we went in, and we just walked past this gigantic spring balloon festival, and they were letting off balloons, and there was a band and street food things, food trucks, all inside this one big room, and restaurants all around this like center thing. And then we went down an escalator, and we found the restaurant. There's a coffee shop down there. It's crazy. And especially because upstairs it looked like nothing. It's the craziest thing. And then that's when we finally understood. So these are from Colibri. That's when we understood that there's a whole underground in the city in Japan. We went to a couple of these, what do they call them? They're carousel sushi, but there's another name for it. And I'm vegetarian. There aren't a lot of things for a vegetarian to eat, but there are a few things. And what we found interesting is that it's so automated. You can go in, you push a button and you get a little thing. Then you go over to this other thing and it tells you your table. You can sit at your table. You can order on this little tablet that's sitting here. And so you punch in your order, and then it dings at you, and the food comes down, and it like has a little like a train. It like diverts the food so it comes over to you. You grab your food, you tell it when you're done, and it tallies it up. And you take your little receipt, you go to the front, and you pay using a little machine. And so you could sit and eat an entire one of these all-you-can-eat sushi things without ever talking to another human. And you could see a lot of people doing that. Businessmen would come in and they just eat this whole huge giant stack of food and leave, and nobody's talking to anybody. But there are people in the back making delicious food, and there are waitresses and stuff. So if you did need something that you couldn't order on here, or if something was wrong with your food, they come running over. And so that was interesting. Shibuya, it's a big shopping area. We found ourselves among a bunch of students walking. We never found out why. Probably thousands of students all walking one direction. I was looking it up, and I found out that we were there right as school started or ended for the season, but I didn't know what this was. I think a Saturday, so I don't know. So I don't know if there's a Buddhist temple in the middle of this park. Maybe they were going to like be blessed for, or whatever they do in Buddhism. Apologies for being ignorant. To like, maybe they were like, congratulations, you're on your good luck on your school year, or I don't know, but they were obviously students, male and female. We went to one of these anime themed cafes, and we had to buy our tickets months in advance, and it's only an entrance fee, and then you end up paying for the food, and it was really confusing. And I think that you could go back to Japan and offer your services as an English speaker and go to these places and say, hi, could I help you make it easier for English people to understand what's going on? Everything's always really bewildering. Like, what are we supposed to do? And they're trying so hard to explain it to you. They're all very polite, but still you end up at the end of the experience, you're like, oh, that really wasn't what I wanted to happen, or I didn't order what I wanted. So this is Shibuya Crossing. And then Shinjuku is where our hotel was. And so Shibuya is sort of more like, it's a part of Tokyo that's more shopping or not shopping, but it's more like popular culture and younger people and tourism. And then Shinjuku is where we were, and it's more like larger stores, department stores, but they're neighborhoods right next to each other, so they're walking distance. And I wouldn't stay at that hotel again, although I'm glad we did. We stayed at kind of an expensive Hilton, and the reason was because we were making reservations at the same time everybody else was. And it just got really crazy trying to understand the Japanese website, the language on the websites to make the reservations. And so I was like, I'm just going to make a reservation, and then if I can find something else, I'll do that. And then once I made the reservation at Hilton, I felt so much better about the trip and confident that at least the hotel would be comfortable and peaceful and safe. And but the reason I wouldn't do it is because this Hilton was kind of, like I said, out in the business district. It was near the government buildings, which, you know, like the city buildings and stuff. And so there wasn't really a lot of stuff to go out downstairs and do unless you went kind of across the train tracks. And then it's not necessarily the red light district, but it's more like adult nightlife stuff, which I'm not into and my son is not into. So I think if I were to do it next time, I think I might do half the trip at like a more American style or whatever, Western style hotel, and then half at a different hotel. But what we gained, the bonus part of staying 10 nights at one hotel, is we didn't have to pack up and check out and spend a whole day switching hotels. We got to spend every day being tourists. So that's that. And then this is laundry. Laundry was pretty awesome. We found a laundromat 2 blocks from our hotel. You can, I don't know what the deal is, but you put all your laundry in this machine and it washes and dries it in an hour. And then you can watch the status of your wash online. So you can look it up and it'll say washing machine number 11 has 10 minutes left and it's in this stage. So we went and had breakfast at McDonald's and came back in time to get our laundry. It was so great. It was really cool. Yokohama, there were some things that we had to do on certain days because we got tickets ahead of time. So one of them was to take the train to Yokohama to see the Gundam thing. It kept reminding me of San Diego for some reason, but we only went to the Gundam thing and then the little touristy area right next door, the red building. So the rest of Yokohama might be a little more old-timey and traditional, but it just kept reminding me. It's beautiful, but it was more modern, and I think my son and I were more into seeing the more traditional buildings and stuff. So anywhere you see Japanese stickers, they're Colibri Charms. There we are at another one of those places. Kyoto is my favorite, and I would go back. In Japan, when you can go to certain places, and they're sort of like costume shops, but they're geisha or geisha shops, costume shops, and they will dress you up either a little bit or all the way in a costume so that you can be a geisha for the day. And I read about it, and they don't have a problem with it. They don't feel like it's cultural appropriation. And in fact, they feel like more like it's cultural appreciation, and they really have a good time with it. And people don't look down on you if you're obviously not Japanese and you're walking around with your outfit. And so we went to the section of Kyoto that's famous for the costume geisha girls, and we just walked around and took some photos. And I just bought, this is a greeting card that I bought, and I just I cut it here and just adhered it here. So, but there were a lot of people dressed in the little outfits, and I did take a lot of photos of them, but I guess I didn't put them in. We didn't actually see any real geisha girls. It was all people speaking, you know, Dutch and French, and American or English. So Ikebukuro. We went to, what was the other day? We went to Akihabara. Akihabara is like, it's supposed to be sort of the main place for anime type stuff, but you kind of have to know what you're doing, and you need to have places that you need to go. We ended up wandering around and feeling a little lost because we were organized, but we weren't organized to the point where we knew where to go. It turns out that Ikebukuro is more wander around and find stuff to do. So if we were to do it again, maybe we would skip Akihabara and go to Ikebukuro, or do more research on Akihabara. I don't know why I'm telling you. Maybe you're planning a trip. And then, oh, so there's this thing called, oh shoot, can I remember what it's called? I wrote it here again. I don't remember what it's called. It's like, I even made this at home. I'll write it in the description. So there's a dish that they sort of, I think that somebody brought it over from Spain, and it's basically rice that has been mixed into a sauce, and then you put it in a blob in a pan, and then you put something over it, and then you bake it. And so we had it with, oh, that one picture of my son looking sad. That was one, he was very tired, and I was like, are you okay? And he's like, well, you stop asking me that. Doria, D-O-R-I-A. So that was one, and so here you can see they served these in little cast iron frying pans. This was an omelet over the top, and then little mozzarella balls and red sauce. So anyway, so it's rice with a sauce with something over the top and then baked. And so instead of saying this is a Spanish dish or wherever it originated, this is now like a really big Japanese thing. So instead of going out and getting a sandwich, you'd be more likely to find Doria. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. So being vegetarian, I do eat eggs, and so this was one of the ones that I got. Went to an Indian restaurant. It turns out it's like one of the best Indian restaurants in town, but what they meant was for the lunch buffet, not dinner. When we got there at dinner, we were the only people there. It's kind of funny. On the last day, we went to Mitaka, which this was complicated. We had to hire somebody, a freelancer, through Fiverr to go buy tickets for us. And then he mailed them to our hotel to be there in time for us to pick them up when we checked in. And this was when we went to the Ghibli Museum. He bought the tickets for us. And if you need to know more about that, you can message me. But anyway, it's Fiverr. It's either has 2 V's or 2 R's. I can't remember. But I don't really recommend this, although the park was gorgeous. So for my son, maybe the museum was the highlight, but for me, the park walking there was the highlight. It was gorgeous. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I keep painting, doing paintings from this. So this is another one of those restaurants. More stickers from Colibri. And my son assembled everything that he had purchased, and this isn't even all of it. And then we luckily had brought an extra bag, the one that we used for laundry on that one day. And then we filled the bag with dirty laundry, and then we used my hard suitcase for all of his stuff. Barely fit. And then this is the last day. Beautiful rain. We had beautiful weather the last day it rained. So here's my section on the sakura. I guess I left some empty pages so we could keep putting things in. Streets and alleys. I want to do some drawings of these. Drawings or paintings. There's something about the perspective going down into an alley, you know, and you've got the big details up close. It just art in terms of a composition. I just like the way it looks. This is right in front of the museum by the Imperial Palace. Oh, touristy areas. This is that red building in Yokohama. Just different super busy areas. These are those guys on the little scooters, or whatever you call them. Carts. Mario Karts. Oh, and they have the thing. It was too chaotic for me to really do this more than a couple times, but some stores had stamps, and you'd go up to this little table and you'd stamp. But I only got a couple. They were hard to find. You could make that like the main point of your trip if you didn't have a running theme. You could look them up online, find them, go stamp. Some of them were a little confusing, like this one, I think it was pre-inked, but I still put it into the red pad, and so I ended up with a mix of red and black, which probably annoyed everybody who used it after me. The gachapon, they're just crazy. They're silly. And, oh, selfies. So, funny mirror. I took a bunch here to try to play. A lot of these things that I stuck in here are the gachapon. When you open the little capsule, you get your toy, but a lot of times you get a little paperwork thing that tells you what else you could have gotten, I guess. So we saved almost all of them. This was at the Gundam. There's a sign for the bathrooms at the Gundam place. This is just a bag, empty bag. Gundam and Ghibli, or Ghibli, still not sure. The drinks are interesting. Sometimes they're hot, and so the little display is different. It's not blue, it's red, and it really does come out warm. And I was actually having kind of a neck ache, and so I got hot coffee in a can and actually held the can against my neck for a while before I drank it. And they really discourage walking and eating, or walking and drinking. So a lot of times people, and also they don't have trash cans anywhere. So you buy your drink and then you stand right there and drink it, and then you throw it away right there. And it's weird to see people eating while you walk or drinking while you walk, and there are just no trash cans anywhere. You're supposed to sort of put it back in your bag and take it home and throw it away. So I took a lot of photos of food, but this was a breakfast on the last day, and I was like, oh my God, this is so good. So I wished I'd had this on the first day, but it's just a bowl of rice with all different kinds of seaweed and pickled plums and a little bit of tamago, and just so good. I love this stuff. This is a kind of seaweed, but then it's umami. It's kind of salty. So good. I have to figure out where or how to get that. But if it's vegetarians, or, you're always kind of looking for that, like bacon or like that certain flavor and the umami. And it's nice to find something that's really satisfying like that. And so these are just things folded into the back. My quotes, a map of the Imperial Palace area. The Japanese rail pass, not recommended unless you really are planning on going all around the country. We did end up making our money back by taking a trip to Yokohama and the fast train to Kyoto, but you really don't need it. Oh, and so the whole reserved seats system, I'm just going to tell you this. If I assume that you're interested in possibly going to Japan, so it might be an incorrect assumption, but they make this really big deal about reserving seats on the trains. And in fact, if you don't get a reserved seat or you miss your train because they're exactly on time, it just means that it's just like first come, first served. You have to walk through the trains to try to find a seat. And the trains are all connected. So you would just jump in and then start walking through the cars to try to find a seat. And somebody might come up to you and say, sorry, that's my seat. And they're exceedingly polite. You wouldn't get in a fist fight because you sat in somebody's seat. They would just say, sorry, this is my seat. Or they might just sit nearby if it's a fairly empty train. They're not going to like fight you over getting the seat. However, going to Kyoto, you would have a view of Mount Fuji, and so people might want to sit on that side of the train. So, okay, well, we just got hit with a major storm. So I was going to say, what was I going to say? Okay, thanks for watching. If I remember what I was going to say, I'll put it in the comments.